mynews.studio.
In just one generation, India went from villages in darkness to cities with power. How did 415 million people move out of poverty, and is this something other countries could learn from?
Today is July 13th, 2025. Let's take a step back. 15 years ago, more than half of India's population, so over 645 million people, lived in what's called multi-dimensional poverty. That's not just about money. It's about lacking education, healthcare, clean water, electricity. But what does that actually mean for daily life?
It means facing deprivation on several fronts at once. Imagine a family with no safe water, no electricity, children who aren't in school, and nobody to turn to if someone falls ill. Rural areas and marginalized communities were hardest hit. Then, between 2005 and 2021, something significant happened. India reduced its poverty rate from 55% to 16%. That's 415 million people moving above the poverty line in just over a decade.
That's a huge shift. Was this all because of economic growth, or were there other forces at work?
Economic growth definitely mattered, but targeted government programs played a central role. Take Jan Dhan Yojana, for example. It brought more than 550 million people into the banking system. Why is that important? Because it allowed direct cash transfers, cutting out middlemen and reducing corruption.
And healthcare, what changed there?
Ayushman Bharat, the National Health Insurance Initiative, made healthcare available to hundreds of millions. Then you had programs like PM Awas Yojana for better housing and Ujjwala Yojana, which provided clean cooking fuel. Sanitation and electricity also expanded, thanks to Swachh Bharat Mission and Saubhagya.
So digital infrastructure, Aadhaar, the biometric ID system, how big of a difference did that make?
Aadhaar assigned unique IDs to over 1.4 billion people. That let the government send benefits directly to individuals, reducing leakage. But it wasn't flawless. Some people couldn't authenticate, and there were privacy concerns. Still, overall, welfare delivery became much more efficient.
Do we have numbers to show what all of this meant in daily realities?
Yes, nutrition deprivation dropped from 44% to 12%. Child mortality fell from 4% to 1.5%. Clean cooking fuel lack of access went from 53% to 14%. Sanitation deprivation dropped from 50% to 11.3%. And now, only 2% of people are without electricity, down from 29%.
Were these improvements seen everywhere, or were some areas left behind?
The largest gains happened in the 5 biggest and poorest states: Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, and Madhya Pradesh. Those states made up nearly 2/3 of the reduction in extreme poverty.
By 2022 or 2023, where did things stand overall?
Extreme poverty, meaning living on less than $2.15 a day, dropped to 2.3%. The multidimensional poverty index fell from over 53% to just 15.5%. That puts India ahead of schedule for the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
But there are still hurdles. More than half of those left in extreme poverty are in the poorest states, and certain groups remain at a disadvantage. Is it realistic to keep this progress going?
Sustaining progress depends on continued investment in education, health, and jobs. Economic shocks or climate change could create new risks. The blueprint exists, but it needs ongoing work.
Why should other countries be watching this? Is this approach really transferable?
India's experience shows that targeted, data-driven programs can help lift vast populations out of poverty. Digital identity systems like Aadhaar can reduce corruption and make social support more effective. But every country is different. What worked in India might need to be adapted elsewhere.
So the big takeaways combine digital tools, political commitment, and a focus on those most vulnerable. And don't just look at income. Address health, education, basic needs together. Is that about right?
Yes, that's it. Integrated, targeted approaches and flexibility, those are key for any large, diverse country. That's a lesson not just for governments, but for anyone working to reduce poverty.
So, in the end, India's experience isn't just a national achievement, it's a reference point for the world. Will others take up the challenge?
Thanks for joining us as we explored how India moved 415 million people out of poverty and what that means globally.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Give it a try for free.